How's it going, guys? Andrew Sink from 3D Central here, and today we're going to be looking at the HyVision Cubicon Single. We're going to do an unboxing and a video review of this super cool, super enormous 3D printer. It has a giant build platform, a convection heated build chamber, built-in air filter, and some other kind of cool features that make it a really unique printer. They sent us one to demo, and we're going to be taking a look at it and kind of figuring out like what makes this printer different. So let's take a look. First things first, let's open the box and see what's inside. This was a demo unit that was sent to us by Cubicon, so it's not a new printer, but it's new to us. So some of the accessories may not be here that are included with a new one, but it should have everything we need to get this printer up and running. So we're going to pop it open and just see what's included inside. Just like unboxing an up box, the first thing that strikes you is how big this thing is. If your first printer was like a Wanhao or a PrinterBot or like any other printer, this thing is just gonna blow you away. All right, so let's get this out of the box and take a look at all the stuff that it comes with. Most of the accessories for the Cubicon come shipped inside the unit. Let's go ahead and unpack it and see what's inside. USB cable, some Cubicon yellow PLA, bright stuff, and the rest of the packing foam for the unit. A common concern when printing with ABS is the smell, and the Cubicon has an air filter similar to the Upbox built right into it, and it actually slides out right on the side, and it has a removable cartridge built into the air filter. And this is meant to be replaceable, so you can actually slide it in, out, and then attach it into the printer itself. Another feature is the level built into the top of the unit. This will tell you if your printer is sitting flat on a workstation. The Cubicon Single can print ABS, PLA, or with a special attachment, it can print in flexible filament, and it has a universal filament adapter here on the side, so you can fit most filament spools on it. Or with an external adapter, like a Lazy Susan, you can feed pretty much any filament into it, which is just a great addition to have, so you're not locked into like one specific brand of filaments. The control panel is fairly straightforward. Using it, you have access to a lot of really basic printer functions that normally you'd have to use software for. So you can have the printer move the bed all the way to the top or bottom, which is a nice feature to have that's just brought out to the front. Before initializing each print, the Cubicon Single will actually go through the initialization procedure. And it's an 8-point procedure, and it takes a little bit of time, but it really dials in the print, and we've seen some pretty good results out of it. The Cubicon actually has a motorized bed, so the bed will actually move up and down as it's going through the calibration process. This is unlike the Upbox, which actually keeps all the calibration in software. So the bed is actually moving up and down as it's going through this process. What this means is the bed is going to be a little bit more accurate when you come to those far corners, and you're going to get a little bit less distortion on parts that extend from one end of the print bed all the way to the other. The built-in screen will actually go through and give you a real-time overview of what step it's calibrating and the actual offset down to 1/100 of a millimeter of where it's trying to do the calibration process. Loading filament is a very straightforward process. Once you've gone through the calibration procedure, go to Check Filaments, Load Filament, and Load Start. And now you'll be prompted to insert the filament, and we're going to insert it straight into the extruder. And as you can see, the extruder is actually pulling the filament directly into it, similar to how you load filament into an up box. And you'll see the guide tube is slowly being pulled down as well, and that's kind of a visual indicator that the filament is being gripped by the extruder. And we can see filament is being extruded into the chamber, so we know we're good to go. So we can go ahead and end the process. So here at 3D Central, we really like up printers. We've got a bunch of up minis, a couple of up boxes, and a bunch of up pluses. And I really like perforated build platforms, and I like printing with a raft because you can print really big stuff. We printed this out the other day, and this takes advantage of the full build size of an up box. And you can see the top of the model, it pretty much goes, it takes up the entire volume of the box. And it goes side to side, and the raft kept it stapled down all the way across. So there's very little warpage. There was no lifting or anything like that. So this is really, the Cubicon has a flat build plate, prints without a raft, prints without any of that sort of like deformation because of the heated build chamber. So I'm going to try and print out some fairly large stuff on it, and we're going to see if there's any lifting or any curling without the need for that raft or that perforation on the build plate, and we're going to see how it comes out. Now that we've got the Cubicon printing, I want to take a minute to talk about the Cubicreate software. The software has an amazing amount of granular control, and if you're used to using open source software like Cura or Repetier, you're used to having control over things like infill amount, shell thickness, fan speed, and sort of just every single possible parameter. But if you're using a MakerBot or an up printer, you don't necessarily have control over all of these. And with Cubicreator, you do. You have control over a lot of parameters you wouldn't necessarily be able to control on these, which is kind of a nice feature on a printer that has a closed source software. Cubicreator is a closed source software, but it does have a lot of cool features. So I thought that was a really nice touch. I just went with a basic standard printer profile just to get the print rolling, and that's what's printing out right now. It went through the auto leveling process, and the first layer went down very smooth. It's about a quarter of the way done, and we're going to check in on it and see how it's going. Great, we just finished our first print on the Cubicon Single. When the print finishes, you get a print complete dialog on the main screen, and the LED ring around the enter button also actually lights up green. So let's go ahead and pop it off the build plate and see how it looks. Removing prints is a fairly straightforward process. Using a standard scraper tool, you can actually just pry them straight off the bed. Overall, so far, just with basic testing, I'm really satisfied with the printer. Parts look really sharp, even at 0.2mm resolution. It's definitely a prosumer printer. It's not really aimed at like that entry-level hobbyist kind of market. This is for that area where if you are looking for a printer that works reliably, just works and prints stuff that looks really good, but you don't want to spend $30,000 on a U-print, this is a viable alternative. The first printer that I ever used was a U-print, and like the part that came off of it looks really, really similar to this. And this is a tenth the cost. And you can use whatever material that you can feed into it. You can use any brand of 1.75mm ABS, PLA, or with a $100 swappable extruder, you can use TPU flexible filament as well, which is a huge get. So I'd give it a thumbs up. Definitely follow up with our Instagram and our Facebook for updates on like what we're printing. We're going to be printing some bigger stuff with it. And be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we're going to be posting more videos showing what we build with it and other demonstrations of other 3D printers. Thanks for watching.